Hey everyone, it's Katie, and it's been a few days, so now we're going to talk about the season 7 finale of The Walking Dead. And over on the site, before the episode aired, we had a post about titles, and we talked about the season 7 finale title compared to the premiere and the season 6 finale, and how this episode, just the title alone, brought an idea of hope. The episode was titled The First Day of the Rest of Your Life. And as always, this does pop up in the episode, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But for the most part, this episode was about choices and how those choices are going to affect the rest of the group and this new world entirely. And it's not just the immediate core group that's going to have to make decisions. Eugene is going to really have to decide where his loyalties lie. And right now it seems like he's very much with Negan. But based on this past episode, that may be wavering. Dwight and his decisions to back Rick. Jadis, who has completely flipped on Rick and has taken Negan's side now. And Maggie, who has stepped up as the leader of Hilltop. We didn't even see Gregory at all this episode, which begs the question, who is in charge, and if that is officially Maggie, how do we take care of Gregory? How do we get him out of the picture? And then Ezekiel, who marched his troops from Kingdom to the Alexandria safe zone with Carol at his side and recruiting Morgan along the way to join up that fight. All of those characters are going to have lasting effects. This episode is going to have lasting effects on them. Imagine this episode is this giant rock that you throw into a pond, and there's like this initial splash, which is this episode, and everything that happened, and all the drama, and now we have these ripples that move out. And as we get further from this episode, they're going to have a wider impact on the world at large. So what our characters have decided now is going to be what paves the new way for them forward. The character with the biggest decision this episode, and who I'm going to focus on the most from this point on, is going to be Sasha. Because Sasha had a fantastic death episode. She was able to wrap up her arc and finally do something that she's been wanting to do for a while. She did become quite reckless after Bob's death in season 5, and then she lost her brother Tyrese a few episodes later, which in that timeline was just a couple of weeks. So she's experienced so much loss so quickly that she did go through a very dark period where she wanted to die. And she wanted her life to just be over. And she took that and she was able to change it in a way and funnel that anger into a purpose. And that's what we see in this episode. This is her purpose. This is the way it's supposed to be. And so we see Sasha in a series of clips in the coffin that Negan is transporting her in. And we also see her in these flashbacks that she's having as she's in the coffin on her way to the safe zone. And what she's thinking and going through and processing. And the first thing that I'd like to hit on are her flashbacks. These really solidify her relationship with Abraham. Because we didn't get a lot of time to see those two interact in a much of a romantic way. Now, there was some banter, and there was their wonderful peace sign that they gave to each other in passing, and which Abraham showed to Sasha right before he was killed by Negan in the first episode of this season. But these flashbacks show us that they were much more connected than we realized. Sasha even asks Abraham to not go to help not go with the group to help Maggie as they take her to Hilltop back in season 6 when she was sick. She wants him to stay. And obviously that doesn't work out, and they end up going together. And at one point in one of these flashbacks, Abraham tells her that she knows what's going to happen. And that's very true, because in The Walking Dead, there is no guarantee of a tomorrow. There is no guarantee of them maybe escalating this relationship even further. But what they do for their family. And they did it for Maggie, and they did it for the baby, and they did it for the future. And that's all they're trying to protect. And it's such a selfless act to go out of your way to be that way for a family member. But in these extraordinary circumstances, it takes that selflessness to a new level. And that was Abraham's mission. His mission was to get Maggie where she needed to go. And at the end of the first episode of the season, you see Sasha take up that mantle. She completes Abraham's mission. She gets Maggie to Hilltop. And that's where she buries Abraham, because that was the final mission for him. And this is the final mission for Sasha. And in this mission, she's hoping to give her family time to maybe take Negan by surprise, and so that not many people die, because she did make a bargain with Negan. Initially, he wanted to kill 3 members of that group in Alexandria, and she talked him down to 1. Now, he did not realize at the time that she was saying that it was going to be her life that she was giving, but we knew, and Sasha knew, and she went into that as selflessly as Abraham did in the season finale of season 6 with Maggie. You know, when you go out there, there's really no turning back. Something bad could happen. And then Sasha uses her last little bit of time so positively. She's not angry, and she doesn't pop off at Eugene whenever he escorts her out to the trucks. In fact, she looks at Eugene and she tells him that she's not given up on him yet, that he could change. And that's where Eugene's decision is really going to come into play next season, is he sees this selfless act that Sasha has done, and he sees how he's behaved, and then he has Abraham as an example that is someone who protected him, and they cared for one another. And so he's going to have to take all of these selfless acts and look inward and see what he wants to do. And so this act, that one positive note that Sasha leaves him on, that's going to affect Eugene coming in season 8. That's going to be something that his character has to decide what to do with. And her last words in general, there's a portion when Negan tells her, you don't have to ride in the coffin, thinking that she's probably trying to be dramatic. But Sasha tells him that she just wants to go to sleep, which she's not dying violently. She's not killing herself out of malice or to hurt anyone. She's doing it because this is her way of completing a mission. Because she went into the sanctuary hoping to kill Negan, and that didn't pan out. And so the next best thing she can do is hopefully give the people she loves, her family, extra time to complete the mission that she wasn't able to complete. And so we see kind of a parallel there with Abraham, which is really beautiful and sad and very bittersweet. And her sacrifice and what she's there for, it's shown in the flashbacks with Maggie, because we have her looking at a sunrise. And in one flashback, she asks Maggie why they're here, And Maggie simply says, "For this." And it's a sunrise. It's a new day. It's a new beginning. It's something positive. We're ending positively between these characters. And the season 5 uh, connection here, you can see Maggie and Sasha watching the sunrise before Aaron approaches them and invites them to the Alexandria safe zone. So we have another parallel there that's giving us hope, that's telling us there's something else coming. And finally, we have Sasha and her smile. After she takes her pill, she knows this is it, and she smiles. And it's not a joyous smile, it's a very bittersweet smile. And that's something that's stretched throughout the episodes as well. We saw it back in season 4 before Herschel's death when he looks at the group and he smiles, a very small, accepting smile to Rick and to his daughters and to the others, because he knows that no matter what, they're going to be okay. And Rick stood up for what was right, and he did the right thing, and he knows that his family's in good hands going forward. And then again in season 5, you see this same type of bittersweet, kind of victorious smile in Beth. When she escapes Grady, or tries to, she's able to help Noah escape, and then she's restrained. And as she watches him escape, she has that same smile that her father had, and that same smile that Sasha has, is that she's given someone else time, is that there will be another day for someone else. It might not be for them, but that's that self-sacrificing good nature that sometimes you have to allow yourself a loss in order to help everyone else move forward. And finally, the episode ended with a monologue from Maggie. And we got to see Abraham and Sasha kind of wrap up their relationship in a really lovely way. And this monologue from Maggie wraps that up for her and Glenn. We haven't had a whole lot of closure with Maggie and Glenn, and this brought it all together. Because she says that Glenn started everything. Glenn saw Rick, and instead of just leaving him in that tank to die, he helped him. In another selfless act, he saved someone's life that he didn't know. And this whole story began because Glenn took that chance. And because Glenn took that chance, they were able to create this family. They were able to go through all of these different stages of loss together. And that shows us, again, what an amazing person Glenn was. He was never the one to take the easy way out. He was noble. He did have morals, and he was that moral compass. And we can see that that's going to live on. That no matter what, this theme of putting others above yourself, for taking life and looking at it as something precious, even if you don't look at life the way Morgan does or did, but as something that you protect and you keep safe. And sometimes you have to sacrifice yourself to do that. That's going to be how we go into season 8. As all of these people make decisions on how they are going to kind of live out their legacy. What is their place going to be in this war? How are they going to contribute? What sacrifices are they going to be willing to make? And finally, I'd like to end on this, because I think it's very interesting how the Walking Dead writers deal with time and how they approach very small details in their work. And they wouldn't put them there if they didn't want them to be found. You'll notice that the last shot of the episode focuses on Herschel's watch, which is something that he gave Glenn several seasons ago, and Maggie has now. And the last shot is of Herschel's watch, and it's focused on 6:30. And so if you change that and you make it 6.6, you'll look back at season 6, episode 6, and that is the episode Always Accountable. That's where Sasha and Abraham's relationship kind of gets off to a rocky start after they lose Daryl and are attacked and have to spend the night locked up in this office space. And so it's a nice nod there to the beginning of those two and their romantic relationship together. And it's also a nod that you will look back into Always Accountable, and that's where you find that Daryl meets Dwight and Sherry for the first time. And that's also the episode that Dwight is carving that soldier, the one that Daryl found at the gates, that said "didn't know" written on the back of it. And so all of those things tie us together. And nothing is ever not important in The Walking Dead. And that's just a little Easter egg that hopefully, you didn't see, or maybe you did see it and you were as, excited as I was to kind of look that up and figure out what they meant. And also, let's close this on an extremely positive note. We finally got to see Shiva attack someone, and it was a savior, and it was right beside Negan. It saved Carl's life in the process, but to see Negan's face when that tiger jumped out, that will give me life for now until season 8 comes, because he was shook. And that makes me happy, because he did not know that there was a tiger. And there's lots of things that Negan is now finding out that he did not know. And I can't wait to see how Hilltop, the Kingdom, the Alexandria Safe Zone come together next season and show him just a little bit more of things that he doesn't know. And season 8 will begin in October. We don't have a premiere date yet, but it's always, in the middle of October. And it's going to be the 100th episode. The season 8 premiere will be the 100th episode, so you can bet that it's going to be intense, it's going to be insane, and we can't wait for it. And we'll see you back in October when The Walking Dead comes back on. Until then, share your theories. There's plenty to look through, there's plenty to talk about, and now's the time to figure out where they're going to lead us from here. So thanks for listening and watching and live tweeting with us and following season 7. It's been amazing. So until season 8, let's just survive somehow, okay?